Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the live stream Friday night Q&A live from Michigan. There's been a lot of action in the cryptocurrency market over the last few days, so we'll talk about that, talk about some other things, some other news related items, and then we'll talk about moving some crypto around. And of course, as always, I'll take your questions. So let's jump in. All right, guys. I got caught off guard. Yep, here we go. All right, so before we go too far into it, I need to make a slight adjustment here. Welcome, everyone. It's good to have a bunch of people already waiting to say hello. It's always nice. If this can, what can this do? Come on, Rex, you can do it. I'm about to get it done. There it goes. Ta-da! And that the reason I put that on white is that it helps light me from the opposite side of my Elgato light, which I just turned on, which you can't see. I've got this really cool Elgato light. Let's see. Yeah. Let's put this on here. Yeah, this little puppy right here. Key light, that's what we call it. Awesome little thing. You know, it clips to the back of my table and it gives me great light, but what I want is what this guy's got. He's got two. He's got one on each side, and I don't, right? So what I do is I light up my rig on the other side, so I've got some light on this side of my face. Because I've noticed in the past, I've done some videos where, like, I sort of melt into the background pattern because there's not enough light on this side of my face. So anyway, through from the technical standpoint, welcome everyone. I'm gonna pop out chat here real quick. I kind of got caught off guard. I was watching videos and my wife said, "Hey, aren't you about to do your live stream?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I've only got 3 minutes before 8." So it took me a few minutes to get everything up and running. So Ronaldo is here. Good to have you. Crypto Shopping is here. David Muturu, it's good to have you. Tig is here again. Celtic Fan is here again. Zach is here. Daniel is here. Kelvin, pardon me, Kelvin. Rick N. Mr. David from San Antonio, thanks for checking in. My good friend, Mr. David. We go back quite a ways. EKS. Happy Friday, second day of spring here in Silicon Valley. All in shelter cover mode. I'm going to cover that a little bit. You can't really not cover that. So Randy is here. Great to have you here, Randy. Hope everything's going well with you. My best, my love and affection for you and your wife. I hope everything's fine and dandy where you are. Everything's fine and dandy here where I am. Steve, Shinobi, David, Nunez, Ira, Claudio, Ira Bliss. All right, it's good to have everybody here. What was I going to say? Okay, we'll talk about the coronavirus, of course. We'll mention it. But what we really want to get into quickly at the beginning here is the market, right? Oh, and before I get too far into it, as usual, gotta pump Shinobi, whoops, David, gotta pump all this stuff. I didn't want that on there. Where are we here? Okay, here we go. Here's my description that you can check out down below. Just scroll down a little bit. You might have to do a show more under the video, the live stream, if you're not familiar with how YouTube works. There's a lot of information in my description down below. So first and foremost, links to all of the news stories that I'm going to cover. So those are all down there. Some links to some interesting, product announcements for Crypto.com and Ledger. Ledger version 2.0 is out. It has been out for a couple weeks now, I guess. So I'm using it. We'll talk about it. My affiliate links, as always, crypto.com, which has been very good to me. Great partner, great platform to work with. And I don't have my wallet here, so I can't flip out that MCO Visa card, but we talk about it quite a bit. Great way to spend crypto in the real world. Of course, we're going to talk about Ledger Nanos. I've got the Ledger Nano X and also my Ledger Nano S ready to roll. So definitely going to cover that. If you want to get Ledger Nano, please use my affiliate link. I get a little commission when you do that, and it doesn't cost you a penny more to buy your Ledger via my link. And you don't have to buy anything. You can just click the link and look around, see what you want. But and I'm not, I'm not directing you to some guy selling ledgers out of the back of his truck. It's it's the Ledger website, direct from the manufacturer. And then try the Brave browser. I use Brave browser exclusively. I have to use Chrome for some of my YouTube stuff, but I'm adaptable. And then Binance US, if you want a good cryptocurrency exchange platform here in the US. So anyway. That's the get that out of the way quickly early on. Let's go to this first story here. Raoul Pal super bullish on Bitcoin price after a miraculous, and yes indeed it was miraculous, 80% rebound in the price of Bitcoin. If you can believe that. That is truly incredible. Bitcoin went way down over the last few weeks, kind of hand in hand with the market due to the coronavirus and the surrounding events of the coronavirus, which were, the pretty much the destruction, or not total destruction, but the delay of the marketing chain or the production chain, right? Factories in China shut down. So companies are having trouble getting their raw materials and some of their manufactured goods. And now with the virus spreading, we're seeing that all over the world now. We're seeing a lot of shutdown of commerce and business here in the U.S. now. So all of those things put together are affecting the market greatly. And so because of that, the Bitcoin market went down quite a bit as well. We were all kind of hoping that it would act as the store of value, right, like gold. But I should also point out that gold really fell as well because it was kind of a bloodbath, and a lot of people needed quick liquidity. And not only did people need quick liquidity, they also, a lot of the people that are invested in cryptocurrencies are consider it a risky asset, and decided to pull their money out of it, right? Even stocks were considered risky. So those are some of the reasons that the market went down. But we all know that Bitcoin has its own fundamentals, its own use case, although there are people that say that it has no use case and is made of thin air. We have seen a decoupling, so to speak. So let's look at a little bit of that in charts. Just so we can take a look at that. It's truly amazing. Where are we? Price charts. Okay. So if we look at Bitcoin, now the rest of the cryptocurrency market did pretty much the same thing. So if we look at the 1 month chart, it's kind of hard to see on the 7-day chart. We can see Bitcoin was doing quite well at the beginning of the year, even into early March, right? Up here around, was up around 10, over 10 at some point. I guess it was before this. But anyway, it fell off its 10,000. And then here was where we saw the downtrend, right? Now this particular chart from CoinMarketCap, if I can remember what I'm looking at here, CoinMarketCap, only shows it going down to around, oops, if I can get it to happen here, 4303. On BitMEX, whatever, it was much lower than that. The low that I have seen in the news stories was around 3,700. So from 3,700, we've watched Bitcoin go back up and hit. I think on some exchanges it flirted with 7,000 over the last 12 hours. I think it was up there. I think last night. So somewhere in the wee hours of the U.S. morning, Bitcoin kind of peaked, and now it's come down a bit, and now it's sort of stabilizing, going back up. But we're also seeing the same thing in Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum has just been on fire over the last couple of days. So let's take a look at the 7-day chart for Ethereum, see if that will give us any indication. Okay, so Ethereum down to about 105, down from around 200. It's not very. Let's look at 1 month here, give us a kind of perspective. Ethereum was up around 238, right? And then kind of come down mid-March to around 100, but has over the last few days back up to 137. Now, between $100 per Ethereum up to 132 doesn't sound that striking, but in percentage-wise moves, this was incredible. It's like 20-30% over the last few days. So definitely the cryptocurrency market has been doing some interesting things. Now, a lot of people are saying it'll continue to fall with the rest of the world market. We shall see, right? We shall see. There may be a lot of pain ahead for cryptocurrency holders, gut-wrenching pain. But for those of us who went through crypto winter of 2018, and then to see it start to break out early to mid 2019, only to fall back again, we're kind of used to this gut-wrenching stuff, right? Always a fun ride on the cryptocurrency train, right? So check out that article about the entire the 80% miracle, and then there's another article here about Bitcoin's intrinsic value, which you might want to check out. Does Bitcoin have intrinsic value, or is it based on thin air? And it kind of goes through the arguments for both sides, right? So for those of you who are not that familiar with Bitcoin, what it is, you might think of it like a stock. It's not really a stock. It is a decentralized digital currency, and maintained by an open source code base, maintained by a group of volunteers, right? Nobody owns Bitcoin. It was presented and sort of created and devised by a person who called themselves Satoshi Nakamoto. I believe I got that right. I always have trouble with that. And who was sort of involved in the early days of Bitcoin and then sort of mysteriously disappeared. We don't know if it's a one person or a group, or whether it's the CIA or Russian trolls or whatever. But it is, we can look at Bitcoin's code base, right? If we just Google Bitcoin GitHub. GitHub is a decentralized code storage facility that anyone can create an account and create a code base, and it has special features which allow the code base to be checked out and updated and then uploaded. And usually a particular code base is maintained by a group of volunteers. So you can just jump over here, download the Bitcoin code base to your computer, play around with the code. It's there for anyone to see. It's transparent, right? Maintain. Open source code is kind of a community-based feature that's been around a while. Linux is open source based code. So the operating system based on Linux, and there are many flavors of Linux out there. That is open source code. If you don't know what open source code is, you might want to check that out. It's pretty cool. It's like a government in a way that is, decentralized, run by the people. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, that's what we're talking about here. Bitcoin having any intrinsic value. Check out this article. I think it's an interesting article. So it's some quote from some people in the finance industry and the crypto industry to talk about what Bitcoin is, what it isn't. It's a digital, decentralized ledger of transactions, and it has a built-in mechanism to create more by way of what we call Bitcoin mining, which is a process where computer hardware solves mathematical puzzles that require a lot of computing power, and whoever solves the puzzle first is rewarded they create the new block and they get rewarded. And that's how Bitcoin is created. That was kind of a simple overview of what mining is all about. But anyone can use the Bitcoin blockchain. It's free to use. You can download a free Bitcoin wallet, create your own Bitcoin address, send and receive Bitcoin all day long if you want. You will need to buy some, so you'll probably have to run over to an on-ramp, which is like a cryptocurrency exchange, where you can pay your dollars out of your bank account or your ATM card and buy Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. And you can store them there on the exchange if that's what you want to do. You don't have to move them around. But true cryptocurrency enthusiasts will then withdraw their cryptocurrency to their own wallets, right? And you guys see me do that quite a bit on the live streams, right? So that's kind of talked a lot here. But I do want to get the news covered. There's not a whole lot of questions tonight. Can you show us how to use CoinMarketCap to show what the historical price of each coin is within 5 minutes and every day for tax purposes, etc.? I have never tried to do that, but I do know that you can use coin. I think, David, you showed me how to use CoinMarketCap in that respect. So, but really, if you want to get the day-to-day stuff about the purchases that you made for tax transactions, you're probably better off using something like cointracker.com or bitcointax.org because they will help you create APIs for your exchanges that can pull all of that exchange data into their database, and then they can tell you exactly when you made a purchase or made a trade, how it was it a profit or a loss, and amalgamate all of that data and help you create a tax form, right? Trying to do it manually yourself using CoinMarketCap is probably is going to be difficult, right? Even if it's only a few transactions. If you're someone like me that's constantly moving crypto around back and forth and buying and selling, it would just be a Herculean task, something I would never even try to attempt, to try and figure out every transaction I made by using CoinMarketCap to look at the price of Bitcoin on a particular day and time. But it can be done, right? I think Mr. David showed me. There's a way to do it. I mean, I think you can click. There's something you can do. I don't know, you can click or something. I don't know what it is, but there's a way to sort of click. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even use it that way. I just look at it for history and stuff. So anyway, I can't go too deep into that. I would recommend using a crypto tax-based online service for all that. Let them handle that. That's, for the experts. Let's talk about these other two news stories before we get too far in there. There's not a huge amount of question, but let's look at this what an uptick in COINJOINS says about Bitcoin's value proposition. Now, for those of you not familiar with what a COINJOIN is, it's kind of a mixer. It's a way to mix your Bitcoin transactions in with other people in order to keep your transactions private. Bitcoin uses cryptography, but it is not encrypted. So the blockchain is transparent. Anyone can look on the blockchain and see all of the transactions are there in black and white, right? Digitally saved for immortal. Oh, what do they call that one? Perpetuity, which means that, like, you've got eternity, which means it has no beginning and end. And then there's another term, I think, perpetuity, I guess, means it had a beginning, but it has no end, right? So the blockchain is similar, is like that. It began, but it really has no end. It will always, the ledger will always be there. It's immutable. It cannot be changed. So any Bitcoin transaction is saved forever, right? It cannot be destroyed. Unless, of course, you destroy every copy of the blockchain on every computer and device in the world, which is pretty difficult, right? So anyway, because it's transparent, if you withdraw your Bitcoin from an exchange, there's a record of that to your own wallet. Well, that wallet address reveals quite a bit about your Bitcoin wallet. It, if you're always withdrawing to the exact same wallet, then anyone with that receiving address, your cryptocurrency exchange, or someone that subpoenas your financial records, or a hacker that snoops into your account, anyone can see how much Bitcoin you have, how much you've had transferred, how many transactions, everything over the course of the whole history of that Bitcoin address, right? So what a conjoin does is it obfuscates that history. And a lot of people think of that as dishonest, but it's not really dishonest to want to keep your financial transactions private, right? So when you're at a bazaar and you're negotiating with someone, you want to buy, a used pot or something, and you're bargaining with the person, you really don't want that person to know how much money you have in your pocket, because how are you going to bargain? If you're going to say, well, I don't really have enough, I don't have that much, can you go lower, and that kind of stuff. If they knew exactly how much money you had in your pocket, then they would just say, oh, well, I know you've got more than enough to pay for this. So, your whole bargaining position is gone, right? Unfortunately, when you're haggling or bargaining with people, you can say it's lying, but I used to work at a car dealership, and the salesman would sit around during off times, and they would say, customers come in here and they lie, and we know they're lying, and we lie, and the customer knows we're lying, and it's all a big game, right? You're making a deal on a car, and the guy gets up and walks towards the door, and he doesn't really want to leave. He just wants you to come. But that's society, right? So nobody really wants anyone else to know how much money we have when we're trying to bargain in business, right? So that's one disadvantage of a transparent ledger. The other is if a criminal sees how much money I have in my pocket, he's going to target me. So it makes sense to not want your financial transactions to be transparent, right? So, but there are others. The other side of that is, oh, you're a money launderer. Oh, you're an evil, because you want to use privacy. But a conjoin is a Bitcoin-based wallet that allows you to obfuscate your transaction history and your balance, right? And they're getting more popular. So you might want to read this article to find out more about the Samurai wallet, the Wasabi wallet, and Join Market, which are ways to store your Bitcoin in a wallet which conjoins your transactions so that they're not transparent, right? But I have to say, I've done a video on the Wasabi wallet, and it is not a user-friendly experience, right? not only is it not really user friendly, but it requires a certain amount of Bitcoin in order to make this happen, right? So you can't use, like, say, $10 worth of Bitcoin to do the conjoin. It has to be, I think it has to be zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, which is like $1,000, or was, right? It's less than 1,000 now. But that, that's a weakness that I see. If you really want privacy in your cryptocurrency exchanges, then it's probably better to use a privacy-based coin, like Zen coin, I think. I know Monero is a privacy-based coin. And all of this stuff is built into the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin really isn't tailored to that, right? So, you're going to have to deal with that with Bitcoin. And back in the early days of the internet, people really didn't worry that much about their IP addresses being exposed. There wasn't that sort of analysis going on. But these days there is, right? There's a lot of firms out there that do analysis, blockchain analysis, and they can sort of pinpoint where the Bitcoin is coming from and going to, right? So they can match your Bitcoin address to your IP address, right? So, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin does not have a good use case and good value, and it just means that it's not really private, right? So, interesting article there. Now, before I go too much further, let's. None of this talk matters right now. People are concerned for their lives out there. Aren't you glad, Rex, you got that call? You got out of Cali. Yes, I am glad I got out of Cali. And thanks for bringing that up, Gladiator, because if you'll notice, if you look down in the description, that I did link to an article that's in the list of articles, along with a link, so that you can check out this article. But I would like to talk about it a little bit. And the economic crisis will change everything, short and long-term effects. And this is from the Organic Prepper blog. This is from the site Zero Hedge, which I read quite a bit, to get up-to-date financial analysis. I don't always understand all of the articles that I read on Zero Hedge, because they talk a lot about, like bonds and currency markets and stuff I really don't understand. But there's a lot of good information here. And this particular article, I think, is a good read for you guys. We talk a lot, we're all interested in cryptocurrency here, but cryptocurrency at its heart is a value, right, that we can have and hold, and we can spend it if we need it, we can save it if we need it. There's lots of things, and believe me, I liquidated some of my Bitcoin over the last few months in order to buy some supplies, right? Some stock up on food and all of that. So sometimes you need to spend your cryptocurrency, right? In an emergency, right? I'm normally a hodler, but sometimes you need to, in times of crisis, you might need to liquidate, right? And we can talk a little bit about how we do that. I think I have. But check out this article. It talks about what might be happening financially to our economy, right? And as I mentioned earlier, the virus is only one factor of what's going on. Everyone's worried about getting sick, and that's a valid concern. But in addition to that, what's happening with the shutdowns is the economy is being, I don't want to say destroyed. It's not being destroyed, but it's being impacted severely, right? A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people, this is causing the stock market to go down, supply chains, and the travel industry, the hospitality industry, they're all suffering. So read this article. It talks about immediate outcomes that directly affect us, right? And then we go down here. This is the section that I really wanted to point out. Talk about what you can do in your own sphere to deal with this situation, right? Cut expenses. There's Demetria. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Cut expenses, right? This is all frugal advice that a lot of us might already have thought about. Look at your living situation, right? As Gladiator mentioned, I left Cali, and boy, I'm glad I did. Where are you living right now? Are you paying too much rent? Should you consider moving, perhaps? I know this is a bad time to think of a move, but it might be a situation where, you might have to just say, hey, look, I'm not working, so I need to call mom, call dad, either have them come live with me, or maybe move in with them, or maybe the whole family, maybe your brother, your sister, whatever, friends. You might decide to just go in on an apartment where everyone's rent obligation is lowered considerably, right? Go back to your basic skills. Look about, cook from scratch. Don't go out to eat every night. Don't have that $6 cup of coffee every morning on your way to work. Hardcore frugality, right? Now, we don't have to all become monks, right? We just need to think about what we're doing. Now, here's some really great advice here. Help others, right? See what you can do to help your friends and your neighbors, right? Because we're all in this together. I know the situation with the virus is making us all afraid to be around each other, right? But over the course of the next few weeks, after the initial phase of the virus passes through, maybe we'll be sick for a few weeks, maybe we won't. But there's going to be a big impact on the way we live our lives financially because of the economic impact of this. So start to reach out to other people. You might need to help each other plant gardens, maintain gardens, share seeds, whatever. I've got seeds, but I have a bad back. Maybe you can help me tend the garden, that kind of stuff, right? Create odd jobs for yourself. You may work in a restaurant serving tables, and your restaurant's closed now. So what else can you do, right? Think about that. Think about your skill set. Maybe you can mow lawns, wash windows, or counsel people. Maybe you can go talk to people and make them feel better about themselves. There's so many skills that we have that we don't always put to use. I've discovered a lot of the skills that I have that I've channeled into this YouTube channel, right? So I've generating some income from YouTube that doesn't require me to leave the house, right? So think about that kind of stuff. What can you do at home, right? And then what about when you can't pay your bills? What are you going to do when you can't pay your bills? So this is a big one here. This may come in to you. So check out this article, and then there's a great link within the article. So you want to check out my link to this article, but scroll down here to the bottom, and then there's another link within the article to an article about what to do when you can't pay your bills, right? Talks about setting priorities. Nobody wants to talk about this kind of stuff, but I think it's good information for you guys to have. We can all weather these kind of storms. I mean, a lot of us live in kind of a bubble where things tend to stay the same. Maybe some of us have been through some hard times. I personally have been through some hard times, where I couldn't afford to pay my rent, that kind of stuff in my 20s. So I know what it's like, and I know that, bills can wait. A lot of bills, you'd be surprised how long bills can wait. Even in a regular environment, just if you're experiencing your own crisis and everything else is normal, bills can wait, right? You can call the bill collector, you can call the credit card company, you can call the power company, you can call the gas company, you can tell them you're in trouble, and they'll work with you, right? But especially now with what's going on, they're all going to understand, right? Taxes filings have been delayed, so we don't have to worry about our taxes on April 15th. A lot of the credit card companies are not charging you late fees. So prioritize what you need, what's important, right? Pay for shelter first, right? Buy your food, right? These are all pretty obvious. Pay for essential utilities. Pay for car, things you need to continue to work, right? And then number 5, they go about the other things that need to be paid can be dealt with, you know, at the end, right? With whatever you've got left over, if you have anything left over after your main things. All right. So just wanted to point out that kind of stuff for you guys. I don't mean to get in, you know, if I'd have shared this with you last month, you'd have thought I was a loony bin who he was talking about prepping. You know, he's a prepper crazy, but it doesn't seem that out of the ordinary now. You know, we're all being forced to live in, you know, shelter in place. Thank God, you know, we're allowed to go buy the groceries, go to the pharmacy. We went to the grocery store today. There were some things that were missing. There weren't any bananas, no fresh bananas. We I guess came a little late, but most of everything was there. You know, there was bread, there was ketchup, mustard, you know, there was meat. So we're not starving, right? Everything's fine. So pay for shelter and pay for food. Those are the big ones. And if you think you got to liquidate a little bit of your crypto, then do it. But remember, you don't have to liquidate all your crypto just to pay all the bills that are in your face right now. The bills can wait, right? Prioritize, right? And try to lower your standards, your life standards a little bit, right? So anyway, that's it, guys. I've been doing that for 2.5 years now. That's great, Scott. $6 coffee. Who purchases $6 coffee? I know. I like a latte. I think it's like $3.65. And, you know, usually when we go out, I go with my wife. So, you know, when we both get coffee, it's about $6. But we like going out for coffee. Everybody make sure you got plenty of toilet paper. It's funny how that's considered the number one commodity that people are after. I hate to bring this up, and maybe it's a little base, but in Europe and South Asia, there are a lot of places where they don't even use toilet paper. You know, they use bidets. And I remember when I visited Indonesia back in 2007, 2008, when I first went over there. That's where I met my wife. In some of the public bathrooms, like in the park, right? When you go to an outdoor public bathroom, you go in there and there'd be like a little squatter, and then next to the squatter was a bucket of water and a scoop, and that was it, right? I was like, what is this? And it just goes to show you, you know, you really, you know, toilet paper is not like the number one commodity on my list, although we did buy toilet paper. You know, food, rice, beans, that kind of stuff should be number one. But anyway, I digress, right? So anyway, yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm not sure. I wanted to look at some questions. Myers cutting their hours. Max West must live up here. Sitting at home alone and eating raw cabbage. LOL, no burgers. I bought some cabbage. Cabbage is cheap. You can take your leftovers and throw them together with some cabbage in there. Makes nice little soup, little tomato sauce, canned tomato sauce, and you got a good soup that'll last you for a week. I'm just scrolling back up here to see if there was any outright questions that have to do with cryptocurrency. How do you move from MEW CX to Nano X for accessing your wallet? Well, it depends on how you're using MEW, right? So let's dive into that a little bit. This is an interface question. And if you're already using a ledger on MEW, then you don't have to switch anything, right? You're just looking at a different interface to the same wallets, right? So let me demo that a little bit for you guys. Gonna turn on well, first I've got my ledger connected to the computer. I'm gonna go ahead and enter my PIN. Do that. Pardon me. We do this. All right. Boop. Got that. Okay. All right, so the first thing, let's say we want to use, well, let's look at Ledger Live. I already got it open, right? So in Ledger Live, we can see our Ethereum main right here. This is our Ethereum wallet, right? You can see the balance. I got 1 ETH in here. There's some BAT. There's some Polymath. There's some Chainlink. And there's that creepy kick token that nobody likes. That Ledger finally just doesn't give it a value anymore. But it's still in there, right? Now, Ledger Live did not used to support ERC20 tokens. It does now, right? So if you, back in those days before Ledger Live supported ERC20 tokens, if you had an Ethereum wallet with ERC20 tokens in it, you couldn't really see them in Ledger Live. You could only see the Ethereum part of the wallet. And so in order to manage your ERC20 tokens, you had to use a website. There are many others, but the main one was MEW, right? My Ether Wallet. Now, My Ether Wallet was the go-to interface for managing your ERC20 tokens, right? And it's been updated quite a bit over time, right? It's evolved quite a bit, but it's still, at its heart, it is a way to manage ERC20 tokens and your Ethereum wallet, right? So you could create a new wallet from scratch where it gives you a private key, but that's not really the best way to use My Ether Wallet. So if you're coming from that, then you will probably need to just transfer your assets from that old type wallet to your ledger-based wallet. And I won't really cover that because I don't have that type of wallet set up. But generally, you create the wallet and you have a private key that you cut and paste when you access it, or you have a file that's stored on your computer. Let's see if this. Okay. Next. Okay, they take you through all this stuff. I'm not going to do it. All right. So this is all your responsibility if you lose any of this, right? Okay, so here you go. You've got, so you could create a key store file, like it says not recommended. Mnemonic phrase, not recommended, right? MEW wallet, you can download it on an app, and that's one way to create a new wallet, a more secure way. But the easiest way is to access my wallet. And I'm assuming you probably did this before, right? We access our wallet on using hardware. We're going to use this hardware wallet, and see, these are all the different hardware wallets that are supported in MEW. And then we'll use Ledger because that's the hardware device that I have. It's connected, right? And I need to use the newer derivation path, right? Because I created this Ethereum wallet using Ledger Live, right? There's an older one if you created an older wallet using the old Chrome apps, right? But if you're using Ledger Live, then you should use this derivation path. We'll hit next. Now we need to be in the Ethereum app, right? When we do this. So let's see here. Here we go. All right, let's get this going here. That's it. I need to be in the Ethereum app in order to do this. As you'll notice, it didn't pull anything up, right? So I'm going to go over here to Ethereum, and I'm going to click both buttons. So I'm in the Ethereum app. All right, didn't like that, but I'm going to do a refresh here of the entire site. This happens occasionally, but let's see what happens. Let's see if I can get in here. I've seen that error message before. Yeah, it's not cooperating with me. Okay. Why are you doing this to me? All right. Yeah, it is connected, for Pete's sake. All right, let's try this again. Boy, it is just not cooperating with me tonight. Okay. All right, I get it. You're not going to cooperate with me. All right, so what am I going to do? All right, first thing I'll do is I'll disconnect and reconnect. See if that helps. All right? Don't start resetting your ledger just because it's not showing up in MEW. All right, just try the simple... when you're troubleshooting, Always try the simplest thing first before you start going crazy and, you know, restoring from seed phrases and all kinds of crazy stuff. You don't need to go, you know, both barrels cocked at this thing. Try the easy solutions first. All right, disconnect, reconnect. Re-entered my PIN. I'm still in the Ethereum app, right? Even though I just re-entered my PIN, I'm going to just go ahead and get out of it again, right? Let's try all this again. Let's hit hardware, ledger, continue, Ethereum, next, and still not pulling up. Let's see if it pulls up. Let's try again. Keep trying till we get it. I might have to switch over to, boy, it is just not helping tonight, is it? Wow. Just not doing it for me. I haven't been on this site in a while. Still nothing. Okay. All right. I give up. You've defeated me. I'm going to try a different browser. All right. MEW. All right. Let's try a different. Okay. I'm still in the Ethereum app. All right. Let's keep trying. Oh, new update found. Okay. Going to refresh. There's always a new update. All right, let's try this again. All right, one more try. If this doesn't work, I'm just gonna give up. Boy, it is just not cooperating with me tonight. Wow. Okay. I don't know what that's all about. All right, so let's disconnect it from this USB port and try a different. Whoops. Try a different USB port. See if that does it. All right. Got to re-enter the PIN. Don't know what's going on with MEW. Oh, I think I do know. It's all me, right? I had this other one connected. It doesn't like that, right? That's what was going on. I had two ledgers connected, even though it was in the Bitcoin app, right? It was having trouble, and I'm going to put it back in its... Jesus Christ. Oh, wow. I've been using computers for like 35 years, and I still have trouble with the USB port. I put it in one direction, doesn't go in. I switch directions, still won't go in. Switch it back, it still won't go in. Finally, I go back to the original orientation, and it goes in. I'm like, what was I doing wrong? Anyway, I had two different ledgers connected, so that's probably why it wasn't recognizing it. We shall see, right? Okay. Sorry about that. See, when in doubt, check yourself. All right. I'm going to exit the Ethereum app. All right. I'm going to go back over to Brave, which is my go-to browser. I'm just going to pull up the site again from scratch. All right. Where are we here? Okay. They have an app. I'm not going to use their app tonight. I've done a video. Let's get into the Ethereum app first. Let's do access wallet, hardware, ledger, continue, ledger live, next. Boom, there we go. My bad. Wow, okay. Ledger live doesn't really care if you have more than one device connected, but apparently MEW does, right? Okay. All right, so you'll notice here that there are several Ethereum wallets that are associated with this particular address, right? Well, there's more than one address with the private key, right? It's generated multiple addresses, right? This is the one that has the balance, right? You don't really need to worry about all of these empty ones, right? You can hit next until the cows come home, and it'll keep giving you Ethereum addresses. There's really no need to worry about that. Just pick one and go with it, right? These other ones, I've had Ethereum in and out of these. In fact, they probably have some ERC20 tokens left in them. But let's focus on this one right here. All right, we'll tick this check here, go over here, and lo and behold, here we are. We can see the balance, you know, 1.08 blah, blah, blah Ethereum. And then we can see over here, I don't know what that little X is doing there, or that little question mark. I know what this is. So we got the polymath, we've got the BAT, and we've got the link. What I really wanted to show you guys, and I wish this would go away. It won't. Will it? Okay. Anyway, it won't go away. All right. Go away. It won't. Is that this wallet mirrors the exact same wallet that I can see in Ledger Live, right? So if we go to Ethereum main, we can see the exact same Ethereum address, right? Same balance and same ERC20 tokens, right? So you can use either one, but they're all pointing to the same private keys. They're all pointing to the address that you have on your device, right? So there's really no transition that needs to occur as far as moving tokens from one wallet to another, right? You're using the same wallets. You're just looking at them with a different interface. All right, so let's do a receive. Continue. And it should load this up. There's the address, right? ECAC blah, 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 blah. Okay, there it is. I can verify it on my device, right? It's the same address as I see on my screen. I can approve that, and we're done, right? Now we can go over to MEW and do the same thing, right? I want to see the address. Where is it? Where's it going to show me the address, right? Oh, there's the address right there, okay? It's just showing it to me. It's the exact same address that we had. Let's do this one more time, just to illustrate one more time. So it shows up on my device, right? There's the address on my device. Let's look at it on MEW, right? Same address, right? Exact same Ethereum address. I'm just looking at that same wallet using two different interfaces, right? So I get this question a lot. I know it's a little hard to wrap your head around it, but if you're using MEW to manage your Ethereum and ERC20 tokens, you can go right over to Ledger Live and do the exact same thing. You don't have to change anything. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that that you didn't have this Ethereum account in your Ledger Live, right? Let's delete it, right? Boom, it's gone, right? So what happened to that Ethereum? Did it disappear? Well, okay, I was using it over in Ledger Live. I'm sorry, my Ether wallet, right? I can manage it. I can move it. I can send and receive. I can check my balance. Same as my ERC20 tokens. I can do all that stuff. But how can I use it in Ledger Live now? Okay, so let's go over to Ledger Live. And let's just add account. We'll hit add account. And let's say, well, let's add an Ethereum account. We'll hit continue here. All right, it wants me to get into the Ethereum app, which I'm already in. Right, and now it is scanning my device for any existing wallets. It's also going to offer me the option of creating an empty wallet, right? If there were no existing wallets. But it's scanning the device for private keys, right? So what's it going to find? It's probably going to find a bunch of old addresses that I've used in the past that have transaction histories but no balance, right? I'm not interested in those wallets, but they existed in the past, so it's going to find them, right? And it does take it a few minutes to find them. All right, there's one. Oh, it's showing me one that was the one that's dim is already in Ledger Live, right? So it found that. It's like, okay, well, that one's already in there. You don't need to add that, right? Here's one that's got a little bit of Ethereum in it. I'm not really worried about that one right now. I don't need that. But that's the one that I want right there. You see, it just found it. right? And it's suggesting that I call it Ethereum 3. I can call it whatever I want, right? I can just call it Ethereum main because it's my main Ethereum account, right? That's what I had it named before. But I could name it whatever I want, even if I had a different name for that same account before. I'll hit add account. I can close that, and boom, there we go. And the 4 tokens are there too, right? It found them, right? So really, if you've never used your Ledger-based Ethereum wallet in Ledger Live before, then you simply need to use add account, and it will discover it on the device and give you the interface to check it, right? And from there, you can manage it, right? Move it in and out, move the ERC20 tokens in and out, put in a new ERC20 token if you want to. Anything you can do in MEW, you can do in Ledger Live, right? Same wallet, same different interface. Hadn't talked about Ethereum much lately, so I just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick overview. And then you'll also notice that in this particular wallet, the Ethereum is the main part of the wallet, and then the tokens within this wallet are managed kind of over here on the side in like a separate little thing. Same with the Ethereum too. Or I'm sorry, on Ledger Live, right? You've got the Ethereum wallet, and then you've got these little sub tokens, and you can collapse it and expand it, right? And then another thing is if I want to send any of this BAT to a different address, I can't unless there's a little bit of Ethereum, enough Ethereum for the gas, right? So you may have a bunch of ERC20 tokens stored in an empty Ethereum wallet, which is fine and dandy if all you're doing is storing them. But if you want to move any of these out, you will need to at least put a little bit of Ethereum in there so that you can pay for the gas, right, on the Ethereum network, right? It's very similar to Bitcoin. It has miners, all that stuff. You need but when you move ERC20 tokens, instead of like taking it out of your balance of your ERC20 token, like if I want to send 2,000 BAT and they charge me 3 BAT, I can kind of wrap my head around that. That's a network fee. But it doesn't work like that, right? If you want to move your BAT, doesn't matter if it's only 1 or 2 or 3 or all of it, you'll need a little bit of Ethereum to make that transaction. That's just how Ethereum wallets work. All right, so let me jump back over here and see what people are asking. If anybody's going ballistic on me. Why isn't he answering my question? I'm a student. I pay the lowest rent possible, but I don't earn. Frowny face. Well, I'm sure you've got some kind of talent. People, when you're in an emergency situation, we all discover our hidden talents. It may just be, putting the soft touch on our relatives, if that you can call that a talent, right? Mom, Dad, I'm in trouble. Can you help me? Maybe that's your talent. Or, maybe it's writing, posting articles on Medium, writing for the school newspaper, whatever. Ask your roommates, is there anything I can do for you for money? Within reason, right? Maybe you have something of value, like you play the guitar, whatever. Maybe, ask one of your friends, roommates, teachers, does anybody, need a musician for a party or whatever? There's always something that you can offer the world that you've got that's of value, right? And it could be your knowledge, right? Maybe somebody needs help with their math, right? They're willing to pay you as a tutor. Maybe you're really good at writing papers and, your roommate's got writer's block or whatever. You can say, hey, look, I'll collaborate with you. I'll help you write that paper. Maybe I'll even enter it into the computer for you, type it up for you. So there's lots of things we can do to earn a little money, right? That's the whole idea of cryptocurrency to me, is the value, right? Everything has a value. Cryptocurrency is digital, right? It has value even though you can't touch it and hold it. So there's a lot of things in life like that, right? Our talents, you can't touch or hold those, but they have value, right? So think about what you can offer the world. Maybe it needs to be offered for free at first, and maybe something, by doing that, it'll come back to you in some way, right? Go volunteer at the soup kitchen, right? And while you're at the soup kitchen, you meet someone who's looking for someone that can, paint their house or whatever, right? Just put yourself out there. Be be willing to put yourself out there to help others, or to offer what you have of value. You'd be surprised, right? Don't give up. What's your take on Italy getting access to Bitcoin? I don't know this for sure, and let me turn this camera off. I'm getting tired of holding this ledger up. I don't know for sure, but I do know that over the last several nights, that the cryptocurrency market was on the rise in the night in the U.S. So this was a phenomenon that we saw quite a bit in 2017. There were people in Asia that were buying Bitcoin like crazy back in 2017. And so what you would see is, I'd go to bed and then I'd wake up the next morning and Bitcoin had just shot up overnight. And that is because there were a lot of people over in Asia that were buying Bitcoin. So we're kind of seeing that, at least over the last few days. Not really long enough to set a trend, but it is possible that there are people in Italy that are buying Bitcoin because they're stuck inside. And they need a digital asset that they can use. Or it could be there's people in China that are buying Bitcoin. Or South Korea. Great, thanks. Have a safe trip home. There may be people that have lost a lot of money in stocks, have liquidated their stocks over in Asia or Europe, that are now flush, cash flush. And they're thinking to themselves, okay, I just sold a bunch of assets. I took a huge loss, but I do have some assets in the bank, and now I'm worried about my bank account. Is the bank going to go bankrupt or whatever? So maybe they'll run down to the ATM and withdraw cash, right? But the bank says, oh, you can only withdraw 1,000 a day or 10,000 a day or whatever it is. And you start to consider, well, I could buy Bitcoin because I can buy, I can transfer money over to an exchange and use that money to buy Bitcoin and then put that Bitcoin in my own wallet, right? And I can, accumulate some value that way. So there is a use case for Bitcoin especially now, right? If you recall, Bitcoin was invented as a direct response to the 2008 financial crisis, right? So here we are in this financial crisis where the banks are all being bailed out, and the monetary system is teetering on the brink. And some programmer or group of programmers said, enough is enough. Let's figure out a better way to transfer value between people, right? A better currency that is not controlled by centralized banks and governments, right? Because they're looting the people. There are a lot of ways to think about this, right? But the banks, in 2008, a lot of the banks and the big businesses won, and the normal consumer suffered, right? People lost their houses, lost their jobs, and the banks were made whole, right? Here we are again in the exact same situation. The stock market is collapsing to a certain extent. It's not dead, but it's collapsing. Money is being pumped into the system again. And pretty much into the big players, right? These Fed bailouts are going right to the banks and or large corporations, hedge funds or whatever, that need this liquidity, if that's their fancy term for it, right? We are hearing a little bit about the U.S. wanting to send out checks to people, right? Helicopter money, right? We're just giving money out. But here we are 11 years later or whatever. Bitcoin was invented in retaliation to this situation. And here we are again in the same situation. But now Bitcoin has been around a while, right? Bitcoin has proven itself as a network that is robust, that works, right? And many people may not feel that Bitcoin has a value, but they cannot deny that it is still around, right? It's still here. It suffered quite a huge hit after the run-up in 2017, but it is not dead, right? It is still around. And it is an alternative to fiat currency. So that may be what's happening, right? Maybe this is the turning point where people will finally see the value proposition of Bitcoin. And they may be doing it in Italy, and they may be doing it in China, they may be doing it in Asia, because I've noticed that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies has been going up at night, right? Now, also, that may be people in the U.S. are doing it because the markets are closed in the U.S., so they want to put their money somewhere, so they're trading at night, right? I don't know. I really don't know. Right? But that's kind of my take on that thing, you know, with people over in Europe. Okay.
Are you done with the TV? Can mommy go sleepy now? Yeah?
Okay, I'm gonna kind of scroll here. What is the best way to know that your ERC20 token is still an ERC20 token? That's a good question, Mr. David. It's really kind of in your ballpark. It's kind of up to you. The first thing I'll say is if you bought a coin when it was an ERC20 token and you bought it on Binance and you didn't move it, it's still on Binance or Bittrex, most of all the other exchanges, it creates its own blockchain. It becomes its own blockchain, right? It graduates from being an ERC20 token to being its own token, right? A lot of examples. Tron is now its own token. It used to be an ERC20 token. I can't think of any other, but Binance Coin used to be an ERC20 token. It now has its own blockchain. CMT, you know, there's a bunch of them out there. VET, that once were ERC20 tokens and are now no longer ERC20 tokens. We aren't even talking about how you convert them. The question that Mr. David is asking, how do you know when your coin is no longer an ERC20 token? It's kind of a little bit of detective work, right? Like I said, if it's on an exchange, it's probably not an ERC20 token anymore. They've probably auto-converted it for you. Now, Tron, when it became its own token, the address format changed, so it looked like it's obviously not an ERC. The address format is different. Some of them, I think like VET, still kind of use the same address format as Ethereum, like with a 0x at the beginning. So they can be kind of tricky. But kind of like, let's look at VET. I don't think what did I do with that? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Some of my programs got screwed up, updates or whatever. Sync. All right. So, okay. So first of all, you can just Google the coin, right? VET. And just kind of look and see if they've got a website. You might want to put coin after it. Right? You can look here on CoinGecko. CoinGecko will kind of tell you. That's one of the first places you can check. And it will usually tell you whether it's a token or not. Right? I don't see it here. Let's look at BAT and see what it says. Because I know BAT is still an ERC20 token. See, it says down here, token. right? It kind of tells you. So if we go back to vet, it doesn't say token, right? So you kind of have to do your own research to try and figure this out, right? If you bought it as an ERC20 token and it's just kind of sitting in your Ledger wallet, then you might need to convert it, right? You might need to send it to an exchange and get it back, right? So let's check that real quick. I don't think Tron is available on Binance US yet. Let's see here. No, it's not. But Tron, if you try to deposit Tron, let's look at vet. Is it gonna? Well, it's still an ERC20. It still looks like an ERC20 token address, although it's not. It's not a good example. But like if you try to deposit Tron, the first thing it'll tell you, it'll have a big warning. It'll say, do not deposit Tron ERC20 tokens in this address. If you have Tron, then send it to your Ethereum wallet and they will convert it for you automatically. So that's just kind of an example I'm aware of, right? But be careful, right? Don't just send all your tokens from one place to another until you're, totally sure, right? So I think like Mr. David and I had that situation where he went to withdraw some coins to his wallet, an ERC20 token based wallet, an Ethereum wallet, and it turned out that the coin was no longer an ERC20 token and they just kind of disappeared. So, and Mr. David, you aren't the only one that did that. Other people have done that have asked me in their comments. And we got it, but it wasn't easy, right? We had to expose the private key, and then we had to, paste the private key into a different wallet in order to, gain access to those coins that we accidentally sent to the wrong address. So always make sure you send small amounts to test where you're moving your coins from one to another, because you don't want to find out that way, right? You don't want to transfer $10,000 worth of a coin that you bought as ERC20 token into an old ERC20 token wallet and have them all disappear, right? That's not the way you want to find out that they're no longer ERC20 tokens and that they need their own wallet now, right? Kind of a esoteric question for newbies, but that can happen, right? But if you're just sticking with Bitcoin, Bitcoin pretty much stays the same. All right, let me go down here. A lot of people tonight. I hope not too many people. Yeah, I like this one, Daniel. It's like, hoping Mnuchin sends me $1,000, right? Me too. I don't mind getting $1,000 check. Okay. Zero knowledge, any good? Needs a reset. I guess some people are talking about the economy. Did not work for me with CMT. We almost lost a bit for Rex. Small amounts first, yeah. Research, yeah. Guns and ammo are flying off the shelf. Got to protect your toilet paper. That's right. Yeah, guns are big in Michigan, right? The guns are flying off the shelves in Michigan. I saw a picture of people lined up around the corner of a gun shop in LA too. So a lot of people are out there. I don't know if you would call it panic or preparedness, right? Right. So. All right. Now, did I move any crypto tonight? I don't think so. Let's see. I don't think I have anything that's really in a position to move at this moment. Let me see what crypto.com's doing here on my phone. All right. Looks like Bitcoin's kind of on the move upward again. We might see, another gain over tonight. I think it flirted with 7,000 last night. It's down to 62.44. So, but no, I really don't have anything in my wallet right now that I can move around. I don't know. I guess I could just move some Bitcoin from my own wallet over to crypto.com. just to show you guys how we would want to do that, right? So let's say that you've got some Bitcoin in your wallet, and why don't we move some BAT, right? We've been talking about ERC20 tokens. Let's move a little BAT. So let's do that with Crypto.com. Because it happens fast, I would be able to show you both ends of the transaction. All right. So we'll launch Crypto.com. And Crypto.com is one of my big partners. You can buy and sell cryptocurrency on their platform. It's just like Coinbase or Binance US, right? So, but tonight what we want to do is, let's say I decided, you know what, I've got some BAT and I need some money, so I want to liquidate my BAT. And but it's in my wallet right now. What do I do? Okay. Some people may be curious about this. So if we want to move crypto from one place to another, we start with the receiver, right? We start on the receiving end and we generate that receiving address, right? So in the case of BAT, I'm going to go down to wallet, which is kind of down at the bottom there, second from the left. And then I'm going to scroll down to BAT. If it loads for me here. As you can see, there's nothing in my wallet. Whoops. Right now. There is a new dust feature that Crypto.com has. And that's up in the top right corner. See that little yellow dot with the arrows? It's telling me that I can convert dust. So I could tap that. And it says, oh, look, you've got some small balances. You can convert those. So I'll do that with my Cosmos and my Stellar, small amounts. And I'll hit convert. And that is going to generate me 4.5 CRO. It's not a lot, but it does kind of clean up the interface, get rid of those small amounts, and I need to look at it. I just thought I'd demo that while we were here. All right, so as you can see, I've consolidated some of those small amounts into my CRO. Right, but let's go down to BAT, Basic Attention Token. I'm going to tap Basic Attention Token. Now, what I want to do is transfer, right? So there's a transfer button there. Tap Transfer, and I want to deposit. So I'm going to tap Deposit, and it's going to give me that address, right? Now, my Ledger Live is on my computer, so how am I going to get this address into my computer? From my phone. I could look at my phone and then manually type it in, but that is tedious and error prone. So I'm going to share the address with myself to my email. Whoops. And I'll just send it on over to my computer. Right? So there we go. I've got the address now in my computer. Let me just launch my email over here. All right, and there's that email. That's me. All right, I'm going to copy that address. That is the BAT address of my Crypto.com BAT wallet, right? And I'm going to send some of this BAT over to that wallet, right? Let's send $80 worth. A couple days ago, that BAT that you see right there, that 2081 BAT, was only worth 200, right? So it is, over the last couple days, it has gained $80 in value, right? US dollar value. So let's just say, okay, why not? I'll just take that $80 worth of value off the top of it right now. Like, you know, we're not going to talk about, well, it might go up more, it could go less or whatever. I'm just going to say, hey, I just made $80. I'm going to withdraw $80 worth of BAT, right? What the heck, right? It's $80 that I did not have 2 days ago. So I'm going to hit send, right? And it autofills the BAT there for me. I continue. Now I need to, it's going to tell me what I need to do. I'm in the Ethereum app right now already. So what do? I need to verify the address. Oh, what did I do? Receive? Dum-dum. It's not what I want to do. I want to send. Sorry, guys. We want to send, right? We're sending. So we're going to send, and we'll paste in the Ethereum address that we just copied out of our email. That is the address of the crypto.com. We can even look over here, right? And just double check that. And eyeball it, make sure it's the same address. It is, right? So we're golden. All right, we'll get rid of that. All right, let's take this down for a minute. Let's hit continue. Let me get this in focus. All right, now what did I say? I wanted to send 80 bucks worth of BAT. I can give it an amount of BAT if I want on this side, and it'll autofill the US dollar amount. Or I can just put in the US dollar amount that I want right there. And it autofills the amount of BAT that I want to send, right? Now, you'll notice here that the network fees are going to be paid in Ethereum, right? It doesn't take a small percentage of my BAT as my network fee. It actually subtracts from the amount of Ethereum that's in this wallet. So that's why you need a little bit of Ethereum in your wallet to do this. And if you'll notice, it's not that much. It's like less than $1, I'm pretty sure. We'll hit continue here. It's going to give us the overview. It doesn't really say the dollar value of the Ethereum, but it's not much, right? So we'll hit continue. All right, and then I should get a confirmation transaction here. See, it says review transaction. So I'm going to scroll over by using one button to see the amount of the BAT. It matches what's on the screen. There's the address I'm sending to. There's the fee that I'm going to incur on the Ethereum network. And then I hit accept and send, and off goes my transaction. Now, the private key for that Ethereum wallet is safe and secure on this device. When I was clicking those buttons, what I was doing was signing the transaction. Inside this device, some cryptography was going on, right? There's a long number called the private key that lives inside this device. There's a mathematical transformation that takes place using that number, but after it's done, the result of that transaction goes across the blockchain, goes through this little wire to my computer and sends out the BAT tokens, right? So that is the security of this device. Private key stored on the device, never leaves the device, safe and secure on the device, has to be pressed by the owner. The buttons have to be pressed. So no one can steal my BAT by simply getting access to my computer through the internet, right? They would have to hold this device in their hands and press the buttons in order to move the cryptocurrency off. That's why we store our cryptocurrency in hardware wallets, right? So I'm not going to view the details. We're just going to hit that. And then we can bring up this interface again. And BAT does not take very long to move across the Ethereum network. And usually crypto.com will, it doesn't take very long for the BAT to show up. So we'll just kind of keep our eyes on that. You'll probably see the alert within a minute or two. All right, let's go over here and let me see what you guys are asking. So that's one form of liquidation, right? A lot of people, they follow my channel, they buy Bitcoin or they buy Ethereum or whatever on an exchange like Coinbase or Binance US or Binance proper or whatever. And then I teach them how to move it into their own wallet, right? They go, oh, I'm going to run out. I'm going to get a ledger. I'm going to put all my Bitcoin in my ledger and all my Ethereum. Thank you, thank you, thank you, CryptoDad. You're the best. And then all of a sudden they want to get it off, and then they're freaking out. What do I do? How do I get it off? Or they ask me, does the value still go up when it's in my wallet? Well, yeah, it does. Like your wallet will tell you what the value of the US dollar is. So yeah, it does increase in value with its market value. So, but in order to realize that gain, you need to move it back off your wallet, back to an exchange where you could change it for dollars, right? If that's what you're after, right? Depending on what country you're in, right? You might want to swap it for a different cryptocurrency, right? I made $80 in my on my BAT over the last couple of days. Maybe I want to take that $80 and there it is. Have a pending BAT deposit, right? So I just got the alert from crypto.com. I got an email alert telling me that the BAT is on its way, right? And in just a moment, we'll probably see the balance of the BAT update, right? I can just pull that down. Yeah, it'll probably change in a minute. Now that I've got the BAT on crypto.com, how would I get the $80? Well, there's a couple of different ways that we can realize those gains, right? I can top up my MCO Visa card, which is like a secured credit card or a debit card. I can move the BAT onto the card, right? And basically when I do that, I'm selling the BAT, right? I sell the BAT for, in my case, US dollars, and then my debit card now has an additional balance of $80. I can take that card into a store and buy myself an $80 pair of shoes or bullets, right? Or toilet paper. Or I could take that MCO Visa card over to an ATM and get cold hard cash, and then I'll take that cash home and stick it in my mattress, right? I just realized my gains. I got $80. Now, who knows, right? Maybe down the road, though $80 isn't going to be looking that good, right? Hyperinflation, whatnot is going to occur. Maybe the dollar won't look so attractive anymore, and everyone will be rushing to convert their dollars back into crypto, stored somewhere safe where it retains its value. We'll see about that. Oh boy, I got work to do. I'll deal with that, right? I would like to see that back come in, and we're almost done with the live stream, but I would like to at least wait for the BAT to come in. Can you set gas prices in crypto.com? I'm not too sure about that. I've never seen that option. I think they just use the default. I don't think, no, when you have ERC20 tokens in your exchange and you send out, it actually, they have their own wallets under the hood, right? They just take it out of your ERC20 balance, right? So if I were to send out the BAT back somewhere else, they would just charge me a fee in BAT out of that principal that I'm sending, right? And that's they handle all that. They have their own fees, their own structure or whatever. I have no control over how much they charge me for that, right? Come on, BAT, show up in my wallet already. It's not cooperating with me. It will be there soon. Doesn't usually take very long. Oh, now it's kind of stuck, right? Yeah, but pretty soon you'll see the crypto wallet balance should go up by about $80. It shouldn't take too long. Of course, it takes longer than I wish. Okay, having trouble sending my Tezos token to my Ledger Live account from my Galleon wallet. Okay, so it shouldn't really. The BAT has adjusted, like now it's 2. But if you're, you go into your Tezos wallet, you do a receive, right? You generate that address. You have to be in your Tezos wallet. It's telling me to quit the application. There it is. Let's go back here. There, it just came in. There's the BAT. There it is, right? So like I said, if I wanted to go to my card and top up the card, I would need to, I can't top it up directly with BAT. I'd have to sell it for Ethereum or Bitcoin or something else, right? But as you can see, like if I go to top up, right? I can use Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, EOS, Stellar, but I can't use BAT directly, right? I would have to sell the BAT for one of these first before I topped up. But not, it doesn't take that long. I do it all the time, right? And now as far as the Tezos goes, let's exit the app we're in. We're in Ethereum app. Let's get out of that. All right, let's go into Tezos. Tezos, whoops. What have I done? Okay, Tezos. And all right, there's my Tezos address, right? So on the ledger end of it, they're just giving me the address. That's all they give me, right? There's nothing preventing the Tezos from coming in. In fact, last week we moved the Tezos from one Tezos wallet to another wallet. It wasn't that difficult, right? So I need to confirm this, right? Hit accept, right? There's the Tezos. We'll hit done, right? And then, you know, I've got another Tezos account that's sort of empty. This was what I had in there before. No, what did I do? I don't really have that much in this one to send, but we could try. We'll see what happens, right? Let's consolidate some more. I don't even know if I can send 6 cents worth of Tezos, but we could try, right? Send the max. Yeah, I don't think it's enough, really. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're going to let me send nickels worth. Nah, it's too much, right? It's not enough. But if you got, and I don't have the Galleon wallet, I don't know what the interface is on the Galleon wallet, but you should be able to do a send and just paste in the Tezos address from your Ledger wallet. I don't know why that would be an issue, unless it's telling you the address format is wrong or something like that. But I don't think I think Tezos only has one address format that I'm aware of. It's not like Bitcoin that has like 2 or 3 different ones that are legacy and SegWit and native SegWit address formats. I think Tezos only has one address format. So might be something going on the end, on the Galleon end of it. So sorry, I don't know why Galleon wouldn't send to a Tezos address. But anyway, I got to wrap it up. Looks like someone has some work for me to do. So I'm going to wrap up tonight. Thank you. Sorry we talked a lot. We didn't move a lot of crypto tonight. But it was great talking to you guys. I'm glad you were all here. Keep up the faith. Bitcoin has proved once again its resilience. So, you know, let's relish that while we've got it. All right? Oops, let's look at this. Don't forget, we do this every week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me again for the live Q&A from Michigan, where you can throw out questions. I'll do my best to get them answered. I'll talk endlessly about stuff that you may or may not want to hear, but hopefully you will want to hear it and you'll come back. So a good time will be had for all. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon.